Hi there. Welcome back to the channel. Today, the $5,000 hardware challenge, and I hope you'll participate because I think this will be fun. There are really no right or wrong answers. It's all about your needs and your wants based on your use case. $5,000 US is 4,500 euros or 3,750 pounds sterling. These are approximate amounts, of course, because rates fluctuate. If you live in another country, you can use Google to calculate the amount for your country and its currency. Your mission, if you wish to accept it, Ms. or Mr. Hunt, is to kit out your imaginary new studio, which currently has no gear. And you're going to kit it out with hardware keyboards and sound modules adhering to the following parameters. Your budget is $5,000 US, which does not include taxes or shipping. Just ignore the taxes and shipping. You can buy any combination of keyboards or sound modules, which for this challenge will include drum machines and samplers. You can buy used and new equipment using Reverb as a price guide. If you want to use other sites like eBay and Craigslist, that's fine, but if we all use Reverb, that will mean we have parity. I used Sweetwater for one item. You have to use the buy it now price on auction websites. No statements that the Jupiter 8 was listed for $25,000, but you would make an offer of $5,000 and they would accept it. This will be your entire arsenal of keyboards/electronic hardware sounds. Your studio will not have plugins such as software synths and software sample libraries. Keep that in mind. Place your list in the comments, if you dare, with the prices and a brief description of what type of musician you are. Composer, songwriter, sound designer, play for fun, maybe even all of the above, and see how your fellow musicians react to your list. In a moment, I'm going to give you my list, and it only has 5 items. First, I want to explain a few things I learned putting my list together, and I'll also explain more as we go. There are going to be things you want to buy that you already own now, and that's okay. Just stick to your budget. If you go over by 1 penny, you fail, and the secretary and the god of music will disavow you. All that sentimentality I have for my Juno 106, DX7, AX80, D550, and WaveStation evaporated. It all went out the window. I've said many times in other episodes that I don't use them that much. They're not my workhorses. I enjoy playing on them now and again because they're fun. For this challenge, I'm on a budget, so I have to be practical. Here's my list, with a brief explanation of why I purchased each item. No surprises on the first item, item number 1. I went looking for a Korg Kronos 2 or a Kronos X88. Both have essentially the same specs. I wanted the 2 because it's newer and would probably last a little longer and be more reliable. I settled on a Korg Kronos X88, which is what I already have and love. The least expensive Kronos 2 I could find was $2,350. The Kronos X88 I found was $1,449, saving me $901. And I'm going to need that to buy the rest of the stuff I need. With this unit, I get great sounds. Plus it loads and plays DX7 SysX files, so I won't miss my DX7 2FD too much. It also has all the waves from the WaveStation, so I won't miss my WaveStation too much. At least I hope not. Obviously, what you use and the kind of music you do and what you want to accomplish is going to at least partially dictate what you buy. Item number 2, a used Roland XV88. I truly do love the feel of the keyboard for playing piano. Also, for me, it's important to have more than one master 88 key controller. I really can't afford to be without one if the other is getting repaired. I get the benefits of some okay to good acoustic sounds with the XV88 and a good set of synth sounds. It's a very capable synthesizer. It even has an arpeggiator that is not deep, but very usable. The exterior build quality is excellent, mostly metal with a undercarriage which is particle board. I'll deal with the hammerware issue. That's just something that goes with some of these keyboards. I found an XV88 in excellent condition on Reverb for $435. That's really a smoking value. Item number 3, I used Alesis QS7 or QS7.1. I currently own a QS7, and the reason why I would purchase it is for a few marquee synth sounds, but mostly to have an unweighted keyboard so I can use it for controlling other sounds. My QS7 is my go-to keyboard for playing synth leads. I thought about a DX7 because it has one of the best feeling key decks to play, but the Kronos covers the FM sounds, and the QS7 gives me more keys, 76 instead of 61. I get some additional sounds with the QS7, and it's a multi-timbral instrument. That's going to be important because I'm not going to be buying a lot of hardware. Also, and like the DX7, the QS7 has wheels for mod and pitch bend. I prefer wheels for affecting synth sounds and a joystick for affecting guitar sounds on a keyboard. I found an Alesis QS7.1 on Reverb for $425. I think that's a little high. I think $375 is a more fair price, but that's what they're asking, and so that's what I'm charging myself. I could have purchased a plain QS7 for $299, but I wanted the larger screen of the 7.1 and the additional dedicated function buttons. At this point, I've spent $2,309. Now it's time to treat myself to something new. Number 4. And this may surprise a few people, Behringer RD8 Mark II. I currently don't own a hardware drum machine, and I've toyed with the idea of buying something specialized like the RD8 Mark II and or something with mainstream percussion sounds for a while. For this challenge, I decided that the RD8 Mark II, rather than something with more traditional percussion sounds, would be more appropriate because the Kronos, the XV88, and the QS7.1 have plenty of the traditional drum sounds. I think the RD8 Mark II would be fun for pop, and new gear often takes you in new directions. I haven't purchased any new hardware in a long time, so this would be kind of a treat for me. I chose the Mark II because of the lower noise floor compared to the Mark I. As far as some of the sounds sounding slightly different and having some different decay tails, I'm not really worried about that. I think the Mark II, for me as a studio guy, is the better option. I looked on Sweetwater and I can get one new for $319. That's a great price. If I purchase one used, I wouldn't save much, and with a new one, I get a warranty and a box. I even thought about actually pulling the trigger and buying one because I've always wanted an 808 from years ago up until this day. And it would be good enough. I'm going to think about it. And if they have a coupon day and it goes on sale, maybe towards the December holidays, I may buy one. At this point, I've spent just over half my budget, $2,628. Number 5, and the last item on my list, kind of, a Yamaha G3 piano. If you know your pianos, you may be saying, wait a minute, Jeffy, no way. You set a limit of $5,000 for everything, and a G3 is way more than $5,000 by itself. Usually you'd be right. It's hard to touch a G3 for less than $10,000, more if it's a late 70s or early 80s model. For the late 70s, and you're looking 11, 12, and by the 80s models, you're looking at 13. And they kind of stop about there because the next price jump gets you into C7 territory. I found a beautiful, mint condition, black 1972 G3 in Pittsburgh, PA for $2,000. This was on Reverb, and I made a screen print of it, but I lost it, so you'll just have to take my word for it. I can see your skepticism. I'm just kidding. I didn't lose it. Here it is. This would be a great piano for a Studio A on a budget. Say they were thinking about getting a C7, but they didn't want to swing $25,000 or $15,000 to $25,000. They could get this piano. They could bring in a good tech, have it prepared. They could make it brighter or dull it down a little bit, do some shaping to the hammers. That's all stuff beyond my knowledge, but I know it can be done. I love the C7, but you're looking at $15,000 to $25,000 for one in good to excellent condition. This one looks like an amazing deal. But you'd still have to go play it, make sure it feels good to play, take a look at the mechanicals, make sure they're working well, make sure that there's not too much wear on the dampers and the hammers. But I mean, at this price, you've got money to do some stuff with it. At this point, I've spent $4,628, and I'm not done. I have $372 left, and I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. And I'm going to look at items on your lists. I'm hoping you'll give me ideas about what to buy for that small amount of money. I'm going to read your lists. If somebody comes up with something I can't live without, and it's no more than what I have left, I'll probably post a reply to their list, and I'll put it at the top of the comments. I'll pin it at the top. And of course, that could potentially change as I read another list and I find something else that I would prefer over that. If you're wondering if there's anything that would have liked to have gotten that this budget wouldn't allow for, of course the answer is yes, and that's going to be yes for you too. With limited funds comes compromises. A C7, a Rhodes 88, a Memory Moog, and many others would have been nice. And some of those things are on my list to maybe acquire one day. But I believe I have all my pop music chores covered with the items I've chosen. In order to cover my orchestral composing chores, I would need some large sample libraries. But that's software and a challenge for a future episode. Yes, it's coming. One last thing. Prices are constantly changing, so you may find some of the items I purchased are more or less than I paid. You'll just have to deal with that. Also, even though I'm not including taxes and shipping, I still think it's a fair challenge. A lot of items for sale are local, so you'd save on the shipping, and also allow offers, so if you compare that to not paying taxes, it's kind of a wash, and it probably balances out. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll be back in another episode soon.